story is the one I'm going to tell you I told to General Secretary Gorbachev. And he laughed. The story was an American and a Russian arguing about their two countries. And the American said, look, in my country, I can walk into the Oval Office, I can pound the president's desk and say, Mr. President, I don't like the way you're running our country. And the Russian said, I can do that. The American said, you can? He says, yes. I can go into the Kremlin, to the General Secretary's office, pound his desk and say, Mr. General Secretary, I don't like the way President Reagan's running his country.
If he continues down the path that he is on, violating international law,
the sanctions we have in place won't be altered.
Vladimir Putin's Russia behaves in many respects as an antagonist.
He's living in some other world.
He's a very arrogant person to deal with.
Tension in Tbilisi as the fighting spreads. People in Georgia's capital fear Russian troops could surround the city.
August 8, 2008 became another tragic date on the global calendar.
Declared themselves independent from a pro-Western Georgia and allied themselves to Russia, who supported South Ossetia due to its strategic location in Transcaucasia that forms a buffer zone between itself and the Middle East. Georgian forces attempted to hold its province under control. However, against invading Russian forces, the international community mandated a ceasefire 5 days later, which recognized South Ossetia's independence to prevent further casualty already in the low hundreds.
Russia's actions have cast grave doubt on Russia's intentions and on its reliability as an international partner, not just in Georgia, but across this region and indeed throughout the international system.
You've always enjoyed, over your period as President of Russia, and still now, a very close personal relationship with the US President George W. Bush. Do you think that his failure to restrain the Georgian forces on this occasion has damaged that relationship?
Of course it has damaged our relations. First and foremost, interstate relations. But the thing is not only that the US administration has failed to restrain leadership from committing this criminal act, but in fact equipped and trained the Georgian army. Even during the Cold War, during the time of tough confrontation between the Soviet Union and the United States, we have always avoided direct clashes between our civilians, let alone our servicemen. We have serious reasons to believe that directly in the combat zone, citizens of the United States were present. And if this is the case, then the suspicion arises that someone in the United States has on purpose created this conflict with a view.
The Caspian contains some of the largest untapped energy reserves on the planet. Estimates go as high as 200 billion barrels of oil. Today, everyone wants a piece of the Caspian. Russia, which once owned most of it, has built a pipeline from Kazakhstan to the Black Sea coast. China is planning to pump oil to Xinjiang. And now Western companies are building a massive pipeline of their own.
When that decision was made and the contracts were signed, then I think the enormity of the task became very, very clear indeed.
This was an 1,100-mile pipeline stretching from Azerbaijan's capital Baku in the Caspian Sea to Georgia's capital Tbilisi and finally to Sion in Turkey, and was constructed to lessen Western Europe's dependence on Middle Eastern, but more importantly Russian oil. Primarily built by BP, but also U.S. oil companies such as Unoco and ConocoPhillips for about $32.2 billion, the BTC pipeline support by the U.S. was interpreted as a particularly low economic blow by Russia, who up until the pipeline's completion in 2005 was a key exporter of Caspian oil.
The pipeline was designed specifically to bypass Russia.
Going to Georgia as a bridge to build new pipelines through Georgia to the west, and also built up the Georgian military to protect the pipeline. And Russia has been furious about this ever since. It's the reason that they have clung so tightly to Abkhazia and South Ossetia ever since.
I appreciate all you guys taking the time to be here. I wanted to just speak briefly about the situation in Georgia. It's a situation that continues to deteriorate because of Russia's escalation of the use of military force.
Вам спасибо большое за вопрос. Что Россия в известной степени внесла свой вклад в ту напряженность, которую мы сейчас наблюдаем в мире. Россия внесла свой вклад, но только в том смысле, что она все жестче и жестче защищает свои национальные интересы, все американских. Связано с тем, что мы делаем именно это, а не с тем, что мы в сфере безопасности допускаем какие-то действия, которые провоцируют напряженность. И я поясню.
That alters the choices of politicians in order to secure a supply of oil for the market, and regardless of which country is to blame, it was ultimately these petroleum politics that ushered in the Russian-Georgian War, that started the deterioration of Russian-American relationships. And as we look towards the future, it is important to remember that
жестче и жестче защищает свои национальные интересы.
You know, Sergei, in anticipation of this important meeting and our time here together, I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship. And
let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. We worked hard to get the right Russian word. You think we got it?
You get it wrong.
I got it wrong.
It should be перезагрузка. And this says перегрузка, which means overcharge.
Well, we won't let you do that to us, I promise.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
very kind
much.
of you. Will be on my desk.
Well, we mean it and we look forward.